Good, you're rolling.
All right, Mike Shimshack, welcome to Country Drive.
Taylor, what's up?
Happy to have you, man.
Likewise.
It's going to be a fun day.
Yeah, man.
Whenever you're around.
I appreciate it.
So first off, I'm going to go ahead and ask you immediately about recent news. Apple's top 100 music albums.
Okay.
As a producer, I have to hear your input on what you thought about the list.
I think about like the top, my top, we'll call it top 5, right? Is that what we're looking for here?
No, just about the list in general.
I mean, it's some of it. I agree with this, but I guess that's what it's all about, right? So it's like, I don't know. Some of it is the number one. I agree with that.
Okay.
To me, that's my favorite record of all time. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Yeah, and I did not know that it sold 20 million copies, double diamond.
Yeah, I have friends it's been my favorite record for whatever, over 20 years. Like, it was one of those records that changed my life and wanted me to get into production. But I can remember listening to Lauryn Hill and going, man, I believe this woman so much. Like, I feel the pain in her vocals. And fast forward many years later, 2 of my friends, one was on the management team, a high-level manager that managed her named Scott McCracken, and another one who was an engineer and mixer named Warren Riker. And so I got to sit with them and go, all right, I got you guys. You're not leaving here until I find out what's happened with this record. So this record like crushed me. And I was like, why do I believe her so much when she sings? They're like, because she was absolutely going through everything you think she was going through. She would like have these crying spells in between takes when she was singing. And you hear it in the vocals to me more than any record I've ever heard in my life. So that's why, and I love the songs. The song X Factor, which is the 3rd song on the record, it's a perfect song to me.
I don't know the whole album, so I don't know every track. But it's funny. It's a good conversation starter, the list, but they shun country music.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I think they brought up one Casey Musgraves album, and I don't know.
Golden Hours in there. Yeah.
Is that a country album, or is that one of her more poppy albums?
I mean, she's kind of in her own lane to me. I don't even know what you'd call Casey Musgraves. It's great stuff.
She's
incredible,
terrific.
But I mean, I feel like they made a concerted effort to try to push it beyond what Nashville is known for. Like, the mixer on this is a guy named Sean Everett.
Yeah.
Who's, he does like Alabama Shakes, and he's absolutely brilliant. Like, but it's very different than what, you'd hear on a normal country record. So.
Ben, will you put that up on the screen, the Wikipedia page that has, here we go. So let's see what the top 5 or top 10. So Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, Thriller, Michael Jackson, Abbey Road, Purple Rain. Okay, so I don't know who Frank Ocean is. This is number 5, Blonde.
It's an incredible record. He's an amazing artist. I mean, the Miseducation, I think, a lot of people were like, huh? For me, it made total sense, but obviously Thriller and Abbey Road and Purple Rain, those are easy to argue. And I would argue, for Back in Black, in Stevie Wonder. I mean, these are great. I think that they, my suspicion is they knew it would ruffle a few feathers.
Of course.
So, yeah. So
apparently Kurt Cobain didn't even like the album Nevermind. And that's at number 9.
It's too commercial for him, I think, right?
Yeah. What are your top 5 albums of all time?
Oof. Well, we established the Miseducation is number 1. That's easy. The other ones I would say are probably, I don't know if they're in any particular ranking for me, but I think for me, it's like what are the records that made me want to get into making music and producing records and writing songs? And so, I would have to put Carole King's Tapestry in there. That was my parents' favorite record when I was a kid. But I mean, that thing is stacked so deep. I don't know if do you know the record? Mm. So it has like, I Feel the Earth Move, It's Too Late, You Got a Friend, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. I mean, it's like, it's stacked so deep. The songwriting is bananas on it. And it has like all these amazing, like those 70s California kind of, the guys that play on the James Taylor records, they're all on this record. The sound of the record's so cool. So I love that just because I like records that like are great from beginning to end.
Okay, what's your top 5 records?
I would say Van Halen 1 for sure.
There we go.
Yeah. Again, because as great as he is as a guitar player, I love the songs. I would put, ironically, I don't know if this was as big as Fleetwood Mac, but Stevie Nicks Belladonna, her first solo record.
Stevie.
She's my favorite female singer of all
she's
time.
the best.
I love her. So I would put Belladonna, that record in there. And then it's the greatest hits. I don't know if that's cheating, but I would put Bob Marley Legend in there. You know,
Yeah.
My daughter's name is Marley after Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, greatest hits for me, like the Eagles.
Yeah.
That would be one.
Incredible.
But for Bob Marley, like Exodus.
Yeah.
It's a great album.
Yeah. There's a live record. It was at a theater I believe it was called the Lyceum Theater, which I'm not exactly sure where it is. It's the famous live record. He's got a bunch of live records, but there's one in particular that the version of No Woman, No Cry that's on Legend is from this show. And they have like Trenchtown Rock and then Belly Full and all that stuff. It's the coolest. That was also another record I grew up in Puerto Rico. So
I didn't even know that.
yeah. So and just I was there at like late 70s, early 80s, and it was just like, just that music was, I know it was everywhere. I'm sure it was here too in the States, but it was just, you could not escape Bob Marley as a kid. It was at the time that he was just taking over everything.
Have you seen the movie One Love?
I've not.
I haven't either.
No, but I've heard it's really good.
I have too.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen it, but again, my youngest daughter's name is Marley after Bob Marley.
You talk about music with a message. That guy is unreal.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, it still lives on. I love it when there's music that is timeless.
Yeah.
The message is timeless. And heck, his message might be more important today than it's ever been.
I also love when you take like ideas and put it together. And the guy who ran Island Records is a guy named Chris Blackwell. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to add a lot of these pop elements onto, I mean, he's a brilliant songwriter, right? Bob Marley's a brilliant songwriter, but there's so many hooks in those records, and that was, I think, a lot of Chris Blackwell bringing in some other musicians, like Rabbit Bundrick, who played with The Who forever. He's playing keys on all that stuff. And it's really hooky keyboard stuff. It's really cool. I like how they kind of combine genres a little bit into something that was, its own thing. I mean, there's nothing like Bob Marley.
What is your desert island genre?
It's a good question. I guess realistically, it would probably be more singer-songwriter, ironically. I love old rock. I love Van Halen. I love Pink Floyd. I love AC/DC. But I would say probably the thing I come back to more than anything are the James Taylors and the Carole Kings and the Jim Croce and, just as kind of the stuff my folks listened to. I think really it was so embedded in me, that's the stuff that I constantly circle back to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Diddy video?
No.
Where he's beating Cassie by an elevator?
Oh, by the elevator. I did, yeah, unfortunately.
It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I did see that, yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
That's the worst part of the music business.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big, powerful guy that I think goes to your head.
People like him and Weinstein who just know that there are people that get off the bus or get off the plane looking to fulfill a dream, and then after a lot of no's, they'll do anything.
Yeah, but nobody says no to them.
Right.
That's what it comes down to, is they feel like they can do anything they want.
But it's their access to power, and the people think, oh, this guy can put me on. This guy can make me big.
Of course. Well, you're toying with people's dreams, right? And it's like, this is something as a music producer that I early on took very seriously, is that, you have these people like, there's these artists in there that are there. They want to see their dream come to fulfillment so badly, that they're easily taken advantage of if you want to do that. It's so you have to, kind of a dick if you do that, but it's like, you have people's dreams in the palm of your hand, and that's a very powerful thing. And those guys have that, they have that. And Harvey Weinstein could make somebody's acting career, so, but
how common do you think ditties are in music?
More common than you think. He's it's coming out that it's pretty bad with him. But a lot, I know a lot of people women, they've gotten really harassed working at labels by heads of labels, and, who shall remain, nameless, but yeah, it's not good. Yeah. I have, it's weird, man. It's like, I have 2 daughters. So like that shit like enrages me.
Bro, if I knew the names, I'd have no problem saying them.
Yeah.
That's what allows that shit to keep going.
Yeah, I know. But it's like,
of course you don't want to get into the repeating hearsay.
That's it. It's
because
like, I wasn't there, but I'm these people I know, I very much believe them.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because there's been a lot of people that have been ruined by the Me Too when it actually wasn't necessarily Me Too.
Yeah.
Do you know that comedian Aziz Ansari?
Yeah.
He's so funny.
Yeah.
But he seems like a little bit maybe a woke liberal kind of and sensitive.
What's wrong with being a woke liberal?
Nothing. Well, being a liberal is fine. Being woke is a little bit is kind of getting overplayed nowadays.
I get you.
I understood the first phase of it. I thought that was good, but now we're getting to a point where it's getting a little out of hand.
Yeah.
But what they did to Aziz was some girl did an article, and if you read the title, it sounded like he was part of it. And then it was just this thing that was actually just a date she didn't like going on. And she had regrets about some of the things she did on the date.
Yeah.
And so she wasn't happy about it and wrote a whole article about it.
Oh, God.
And I haven't seen that guy a lot. I'd gone to see him in Atlanta one time because I liked his comedy so much, and he's so funny. And I think that kind of stuff just broke him. So there's 2 sides.
It's funny you say that because I can't recall the last time I actually saw his name.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah. It's not good.
But it's a sad part of the industry that people toy with the dreams, like you were saying.
Yeah. There's a lot of power, and, people, if you have that dream since you were a little kid and you're chasing that dream, and, it's just, I don't know. It's just, that's a different kind of scumbag to take advantage of that,
What did you do for Britney Spears?
I wrote a song for Britney Spears.
Which one?
It's called Rock Boy. It's not very good. It's pretty shitty, as a matter of fact.
What year?
I was brought in to kind of like, they were on the fence as to whether they wanted to do the song. And so it got brought to me to kind of like, a friend of mine named Tina Parole had written it with a producer named Danja. And Danja was Timbaland's guy. And so I had done Tina's record for Motown, and like just thought she was like this bananas talented kid. She was super, super talented. And they were on the fence as to whether they wanted to do the song. So they brought it in, and we kind of rewrote the song together. And it went on the international release of Circus. So everything, her huge record Circus, everything outside of the United States it's on.
Bro, back then, those are some sick royalties because of the album sales.
It was awesome.
They were still selling right back then, right?
Big time, yeah. It was great.
Man, Britney's another one that, like this Quiet on the Set documentary,
yeah,
childhood stardom is a mind fuck for most.
It is, yeah.
It's too much.
I wouldn't want my kids in it, to be honest with you.
You would not allow your kids to go into any form before 18 of entertainment?
I would if they were really, really into it. My kids don't have any interest in the entertainment business. Luckily, one of them wants to be an accountant, a CPA, and she's going to be brilliant at it. And then the other one is in business school right now and just feeling her way through, but she's really outgoing, incredibly friendly. My suspicion is that she'll probably wind up in some sort of marketing or advertising because she's really creative too. So, but thank God they don't want to go into music. Oof.
It's going to be so different by the time, how old are they? 17,
19.
Man, in just 5 or 6 years as young professionals, it'll be a totally different landscape for the music business.
Well, it's funny. I'm trying to connect them to people, to talk to people. Like I have a friend who is brilliant with AI. He's a developer, a programmer, and he's going to sit down with them and talk to them and say, okay, cool. You know what? Being an accountant's beautiful, but if you can be an accountant with AI, real deep AI knowledge, sky's the limit of what you can do. Like, but start focusing on it now. This is my 17-year-old who's still in high school. And the older one is like, okay, cool. You know, these are the jobs that you might want to go after that might be aided by AI, but not replaced by AI. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do, is make sure that they're not getting into a job that's like, you know, it's funny. It's like everyone's always turned their nose up at these jobs, like, you know, the blue collar jobs like plumber and stuff like that. This job's looking pretty smart right now. You know, AI's not going to come. Plumbers. No, AI's not coming to fix your toilet, man. You know,
AI might replace advertisers.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Or significantly shrink the staff.
I use it all the time and I love it.
So where do you stand on it? You're hopeful for the future? Do you have any?
You're not going to stop it.
The train's left the station.
There's a parallel that I see, which is when you were when I was making records, I wasn't really into the production side of things, but you know, we'd record on these big rolls of 2-inch tape, right? And that's what we did, and that's what everyone did. And then I remember when the DAWs, the digital audio workstations like Pro Tools and stuff like that were happening, and everyone's like, "Oh, it sounds like crap," and you know, it's like it's never gonna last, never, you know. And now look where we are. It's like it feels the exact same thing to me, is that AI is just going to be part of what we do, and there's no stopping it. So you might as well embrace it. Or, you know, don't. I look at it as like, you know, a lot of my producer friends are, you know, really upset by it. I'm like, I don't look at it at all like that. I look at it as just another tool to do stuff with. You know, like I'm not a great piano player. I was like, imagine if I could put it in and something can whip me up a piano, or if nothing else, to like get ideas. If I want to bring in a ringer piano player, which is always going to be cooler to me anyways, but just to hear the idea, or to do a demo, just to show somebody of what it could sound like. Cool, great. You know, like you're not going to stop it. I've been doing stuff where I do the voice changes now. So like I just did a song recently that was sung by a guy. We just pitched it up and ran it through AI, and it's a female singing it now. And it sounds amazing.
I'm terrified of it.
No, I'm not.
I mean, I get what you're saying. That can be a tool, but I loved it for Randy Travis. I thought that was an excellent moment for it to benefit an artist that was still alive.
Yeah.
I find it hilarious when you hear Elvis singing Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Oh, yeah.
Or Hank Williams singing Eazy-E.
Yeah.
That stuff's funny.
Yeah.
But when we have an AI artist, it's going to be so that's where the human connection gets lost.
I agree. I mean, listen, that's the thing to me, is that I think what we're going to see is this huge influx of everybody like doing AI this, AI that, and eventually everyone's going to circle back to wanting real connection from real human beings. So I think we're going to have to go through this wave of like just everyone overusing the crap out of it.
Yeah. Have you heard that a lot of kids are now starting to go through a phase of putting down their phones? Because phones have become so popular. Yeah. And they're on it so much, and even their parents are on them so much, that kids are now using phones as a form of rebellion to put it down, which is a pretty cool thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's just like we're all glued to it, man. Everybody. You know, it's like my kids are big readers. I'm so grateful that they, you know, they'll read like 120 books a year, like crazy. I never did that. But, you know, that's time where they get setting their phone down and, you know, not
your
just
kids read a book every 3 days.
Yeah. And these are like 500-page books, man.
Bro, those are like some Cat Williams numbers.
Yeah. I never read like that in my life.
I was in Chipotle yesterday and saw a woman sitting there reading a book. Place was packed, loud. She looked like she was so at peace. I was like, I wish I could find that peace in public.
Yeah.
She was just deep in a book.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. You know, I used to basically just read when I'd be on vacation. I just, you know, if I went somewhere like they had a pool or something, I'd just read a book or something like that. But I don't know. I feel like all the books I read now, they're not like like fiction books or anything. They're all like, autobiography on Steve Jobs or something. That's all kind of just like, I'm interested, but like that whole thing where you would read and just like theater of the mind type stuff, where you picture what it looks like. And I don't do that anymore at all. And I wish I did. I need to.
Do you enjoy producing meditation music?
Love it.
So you do that on your own?
Yeah.
Do you use AI for that?
Not yet, but I will, Yeah. I do it myself. It's weird, man. Even the other day I was just like, let me just, cause AI is all based on input, right?
Yeah.
So the more detail you can give it, the more it will spit back out at you. And so I went really heavily in detail with the key. What's that?
Pull that a little closer.
Oh, there we go. I went really heavily into detail of what I wanted it to do. And it spit out a track that was god awful. It was terrible. So I'm like, I don't know if it's there yet. So I've been just making it, on my own. But I also love it. I'm like huge as, you and I are friends, like I love meditation. It's like, it's like my favorite thing in the whole world. So that is a time of meditation for me. I'll come out after being down in my studio for 8 hours and I'm like, the world could be exploding around me. I'm like, yeah, it's all good, man. It's all cool.
I wish I understood it because I don't really understand solfeggios.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce it? Solfeggios?
Yeah.
When I finish listening to meditation music, I wish I understood what was happening with the frequencies that changes my feelings.
Well, I mean, it's been around forever. They even talked about this in like the pyramids where they would have a room in the basement of the pyramids they're finding that they would fill them with water or lower them with water. If the more water, the higher the pitches, right? It's like when you fill up you ever do that thing where you blow across like a Coke bottle and when the bottle is really full, the pitch is really high. When there's less in it, you get more of a resonance to it. It's like a lower pitch. So they were doing this to heal people back in the days of the pyramids, which is crazy. And so it effectively is just, it's frequency, it's energy. It's energy frequency or frequency energy, I should say. And so they've figured out just over the time that certain frequencies will do certain things for you. Like if you choose like 417 hertz, for example, it removes negativity, right? So if let's say you're having like you and Ben are having a mix up, it's like, and you're like pissed off, it will theoretically go into your being and pull that out of you.
Okay.
And let go of it.
Is there scientific data? Is it observational data? What kind of science is there with it?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I actually just looked it up the other day. Yeah, there's absolutely scientific data about it. Yeah.
That 417 removes negativity.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and like 174 hertz is like pain relief. 285 is cellular regeneration.
Wow.
Like, so I mean, they this goes on. There's a bunch of it, but yeah. It's
now
really
the
cool.
cellular regeneration that can be scientifically proven. So I imagine that's correct.
Yeah. So there's tons of study on this, and as well as meditation. That there's like 1 million studies on meditation and what it does. And so I had a go with type 2 diabetes myself, and the meditation. I one day I was just sitting around and I was like, what about if I wonder if I could lower my blood sugar. Is that possible with meditation? Why not? I can slow my heart rate down with it. I've been doing it for a minute. I've been doing it for, like 8 or 9 years, I guess, at this point. And I was in this thing where I was just like determined to beat diabetes. And I was hospitalized with it in February of this year of 2024. And I was just like, I'm getting out. I'm cutting all sugar. I'm cutting all processed food. And I'm just going to eat as clean as I could possibly eat. And I'm going to reverse diabetes in 3 months. And it worked. But I was like, so I became obsessed with it basically. And one day I was sitting there with I have a blood glucose meter on my arm here that Bluetooths to my phone. And so I was looking at the app. I was like, let me just do a 20-minute meditation, just see what happens. And I brought it down by 20 points, which you probably don't know what that is, but it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So it went.
What was it at? It's supposed to be at 100.
Under 100 is no. Again, it depends on when you've eaten. Like this fasting is supposed to be under 100.
It peaks after you eat.
Correct. Yeah, which it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So it was during the day and I had eaten and it was sitting at like 119. It was like maybe an hour or two after I'd eaten. And I was like, well, let me just see. And it went down to like 97.
Wow.
I was like, holy crap. I thought I discovered fire, And I looked it up and there's just like a billion studies about meditation's effects on blood sugar.
Yeah, I had Tanya Smith on the podcast, and she's a meditation expert, energy healer, and she's terrific. And I was telling her that had I not got into meditation before I had to lose a bunch of weight, I don't know if I would have been able to accomplish it. Like the meditative state that you find in meditation helps you on any kind of journey that you're going where you just have to kind of be at peace.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that there's no immediate answer. There's no immediate result. It's going to come in a day or 2 or 3. It's a long journey. And I end up losing 80 something pounds.
That's amazing. That's incredible. Yeah.
But meditation, I swear I attribute it to my being a meditator.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's one of the most important things a practice I've ever picked up. I was in really, really bad shape health-wise, terrible. I still have I lost a couple fingers here to infection and stuff like that, and from diabetes. And I was just like, I'm done. But over the years, and part of my journey of getting to where I'm at now was, meditation. What is going on? Because I'd go to these doctors, and they would say, whatever you have doesn't look like diabetic neuropathy. I was like, well, okay, your sugars might be a little high, but it was like pre-diabetic at the time. And so but that doesn't explain what's going on with you. So I basically got no help. I was going to the heads of neurology at Vanderbilt here, for those outside Nashville. That's our huge hospital system here in Nashville. And I was just like, man, I'm on my own. I'm gonna have to go figure this out by myself. And so it created this journey for me that was like, I learned so much along the way. And one of the things I picked up was meditation. I was like, maybe this will help, And so I learned transcendental meditation, and it's been absolutely incredible. I mean, I don't think you have to do transcendental meditation. I think you can do whatever you want.
Explain TM or transcendental meditation to people.
Yeah. It's mantra based, right? So you don't have music on, you don't have anything. You have a mantra that you just repeat. And you just go, not out loud, you do it in your head, and it basically just drives out. It just drives out. And you're going to get these thoughts coming in your head, right? That's totally normal. And the idea is you return to the mantra and you just kind of keep saying it.
And do you choose your own mantra, or are there mantras that you're supposed to choose from?
It's given to you. You basically go and you sign up with somebody that's an expert that basically teaches you the actual practice of transcendental meditation. So it was, I'm really glad I learned it. It wasn't cheap to learn. And that's one of the things I wish they would do, is make it more affordable for people. But it was just, I don't know, it was just kind of I'm glad I did it. It was worth every penny to me, but yeah.
Yeah. TM, I've never tried it. The funny thing for me with meditation is I've never really done a deep dive into it.
Yeah.
I just started trying it out. I listen to music when I do it. I listen to Maylan, if that's how you pronounce her name, Meditative Mind.
Yeah, I love it.
Even came to be a fan of some of Tanya's stuff.
Yep.
And it just works. It's just one of those things that I don't really worry about the science of it. I mean, I ask about the science of it, but I don't worry about it because I know that it does something for me internally with connection and positivity.
Right.
But everyone raves about TM, and I've never really understood it.
Well, it's funny. I was a longtime Howard Stern fan.
Oh, God.
Right. Huge Howard Stern fan. And this is back in my touring days when I was playing on the road. And, we would struggle to stay awake all night if we were in some city and we had to make it to the next city. We'd struggle to drive through the night. And then Howard would come on at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we're just all wake up and listen and laugh our asses off. I mean, this is
When he was
early,
funny.
yeah,
When he
early.
was funny.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of the show anymore, but he was incredible. I mean, it really was it was revolutionary radio, And so, and he was syndicated. He was one of the first guys to be syndicated. So we could go to any reasonable sized market. And there he was, it was like, holy crap, we were like, there's Howard, so it became a very soothing voice to me. And so I'll go back into a lot of those old episodes that are up on YouTube and listen and stuff, it's cool.
Yeah. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, we good? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, folks. We had a little disturbance outside.
Taylor took care of business.
No, John's out there, and I think they were just showing. I was just letting him know. We probably didn't turn the recording thing on.
No, I did. And I texted
I got you.
Too, so
I'm so sorry. We're in the middle of a meditation talk.
No, it's all good, man. That's why it's good to meditate.
That's why it's good.
Just return to the mantra.
Did you see how I didn't get angry?
Yeah, it was good.
It works, baby.
It was very good.
Speaking of health, have you seen the South Park Ozempic episode?
No.
Oh my God, Mike, you have to watch it.
I'm telling you, man, bad things are going to happen with Ozempic.
No shit.
I think it's going to be one of the largest epidemics this country has ever seen.
The way that they post it, like the way they portray it, is like that it's almost like the new Oxycontin.
Yeah, I mean, I just fear for what we're going to learn about it. I really do. I mean, I understand it for people that are really in bad shape and morbidly obese and stuff like that. But to use it almost like as a designer thing, it scares me. I know people on it too. Like I have friends that are on it and it's been great for them. But I don't know, something about the long-term effects when you're messing with your gut and stuff like that. It's scary.
Dude. Well, so
I hope that's not the case, by the way.
Relative to diabetes, they say it was initially effective for diabetes, and it still is. But it's the people that are starting to abuse it.
Yeah.
And, it sounds like there's like pancreatic issues, gastro issues.
And it's really tough on your muscles.
Yeah.
A lot of the weight loss is muscle.
And you have to exercise. If you start doing it and you'll continue or you will at least start exercising, it can be helpful because you don't lose the bone density and the bone and the muscle mass. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. If you're getting into Ozempic, you're probably looking for a quick fix and you're not interested in exercising.
Yeah. I mean, I think, some people, it's interesting, man. In my whole journey, I started really learning about insulin and insulin's effect on the body. And it really is like the secret to understanding everything. The moment I really started to understand insulin, I'm talking like, did these ridiculous deep dives into it of just because I was like, oh, this seems really interesting. And it's counterintuitive. Like I'm in the hospital laying there with, full-blown type 2 diabetes and they're jacking me up with insulin, which is to my head. I'm like, this is so counterintuitive because my body still makes insulin. That we could tell from the test results. Oh, I'm like, so why are you giving me more insulin? And one thing I knew is that in the presence of insulin, it's a fat storage hormone, right? Is really what it is. So it's like when it's present and released in your bloodstream, you won't lose weight. You can't because its job is to take all of the energy and either store it for later or put it in your muscles. Like it's not there to lose weight. So when, at least for me, I did intermittent fasting. I start at like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll maybe done by 7 o'clock at night or something like that.
Intermittent's great.
I love it. I'm just so used to it now. I don't even think about it. I never was a big breakfast guy, so that wasn't something hard that was to give up for me. But it's just understanding insulin is like, and having this continuous glucose monitor on my arm, this CGM thing. It's fascinating to watch what spikes your glucose. I shudder to think how much damage I've done to myself through the foods I've eaten.
Yeah.
Because I was a sugaraholic.
Bro, we're poisoned.
Yes, we are.
And the things we like from when we're kids are so terrible for us.
Well, there's that quote that I love that says, if you're a cocaine addict, you go to your cocaine dealer, right? If you're a heroin addict, you go to your heroin dealer. If you're a sugar addict, your grandmother's your dealer. And it's like, you know, in our society, right, it's like we show affection and love to each other through cookies and cakes and all this stuff, of which, dude, I'm embarrassed to say how much of that should I eat. Like,
bro, that's what they did in the South Park episode. So they have all these people that they want to go after Ozempic, and it's like a board meeting, and it's like Captain Crunch, the Trix Rabbit. You know the way they go about it. They go hard.
Oh yeah.
And
didn't they have Lizzo? Like, didn't they do a Lizzo
yeah,
thing?
man. Lizzo.
Yeah. They went,
and she's a hypocrite anyway.
Yeah.
Lizzo is all about body positivity, and then she ends up shaming her background dancers for their weight.
Right. Yeah.
Which is like the funniest story arc of all time.
Yeah.
But no, she's in it. They showed a reaction video the other day of her watching it.
That's what I saw. I think I follow her on Instagram or something.
But the joke from the show that is the best is he goes, rich people get prescribed Ozempic. Poor people get prescribed body positivity.
Oh God.
Have you seen it, Ben? I would have thought you would have seen it.
That's funny, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. But no.
So I, you know, for me, it was like when I left the hospital, they put me on Ozempic and metformin. And
you've been on it.
I took one injection of it, and I was deathly ill from it. I had stomach cramps up the wazoo. I mean, but I don't know how much of it was related to the sugar withdrawals. You know, like I went through it for about 3 weeks. Like I'm talking through it, like dizzy, sweating, like real withdrawal symptoms.
That's crazy.
I don't know if that was sugar, or if it was the Ozempic. I'm honestly not sure. But one thing I thought to myself was like, you know, I don't want to be on this for the rest of my life.
I didn't know people have sugar withdrawals.
Bro.
Insane.
I mean, I'm a legit sugar addict and have been my entire life. So I would eat bags of candy. I could never eat one piece of candy. That's ridiculous. Yeah, never.
That's insane.
So yeah, it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. And I genuinely feel like a recovering addict, that I get weak. Like I went to a lot of people don't know, Taylor and I have a TV show together. And so after the TV show, Cracker Barrel with Sean, who was our, and I think
technical director.
Yeah. And I think Joe was there too. So, but you know, those front general store type things, the old school general store.
Yeah.
I felt like it was like kryptonite. And they make you pay out there again, which is genius. You know, marketing wise, they make you come in through it and leave through it.
Yep.
I couldn't get out of there fast enough. I was like, oh, I felt like, you know, an alcoholic, a really bad alcoholic in a bar who had just quit drinking, or, you know, so I have it.
Cracker Barrel, when I was a kid, is where I discovered Sour Patch Kids. And that was a long journey with those things.
Yeah.
But for me, I never had sugar withdrawals. I went on to keto and lost something like 80 something pounds. And I never ran into the whole sugar withdrawal, but the way I would eat was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I would eat a whole bag of Kit Kats, like the little mini Kit Kats.
Easy.
I'd buy the family size M&Ms.
Easy.
Family size Sour Patch Kids.
Easy. Yeah.
And listen, it's not my place to preach to people. Everybody's on their own journey in life. But I do find that, you know, for people that are dealing with weight problems, I love that I lost weight, but the most important part of it is how I feel.
Yeah. Well, I'm just getting to that point where I'm starting to feel really good and then go, oh, I feel different. You know, and like the numbness in my hands and feet, I'm like even today, I felt some like tingling in my fingertips, which is, I don't have a whole lot of feeling in my fingers. So I was like, well, that's interesting. It was like shocking pain. I don't know if that's nerves dying more or regenerating. I'm not sure yet. I'd like to think it's cutting all this stuff out, is that it's starting to try to refire. I don't know.
I just can't believe we live in a society where every time there's a big issue, and obviously obesity is an issue, we come out with here's this quick fix.
Yeah.
We do it for kids with ADHD, quick fix.
Yeah.
We do it with SSRIs, quick fix.
Yeah.
We do it with Ozempic. Oh, you're overweight. You don't need to to have any discipline. We'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And
But
just imagine.
I think that, what what's tricky about the food stuff, at least to me, and the only reason I'm saying this is because it's top of mind for me because I've been going through it, is that, you know, I think a lot of people are well-intentioned. I think there's so much misinformation of what's healthy for you, what's not healthy for you. You know, you know, we inherit a lot of habits, but the are well-intentioned habits to me. They're like, you know, your mom or your grandma or whoever's, you know, raising you thinks this is a healthy food to give you with all the best intention. They're not doing it because they're trying to kill you. You know, they think that this is how they were raised, is like, at least for me, like with like, I love potatoes. I can't eat potatoes, man. My blood sugar goes skyrocketing
From the starch?
Yeah, and and then all the the other stuff you put on it. It's like but I mean, like, you see like the marketing of things, right? Is like, I've gotten into this whole deep dive that I felt like my eyes have been opened in the last 3-4 months. But it's like, they'll be like something packaging wise and marketing wise, you'll see it and you'll be like, well, that looks like it's supposed to be healthy for me. But it's not. You look at all the preservatives and all the processed stuff that's in it, and it's like, it's terrible for you. So
yeah. The stuff that you're talking about, we're being marketed to. I'm not saying that our families had ill intentions, but corporate America does.
Of course they know what's in it, but they also have the struggle of like, how do we make it so it can stay on the shelf for
preservatives
for, when that stuff is crushing us. You know? But I mean, I understand their point. I went to go see a doctor, here in Franklin, Tennessee, where I live. And, he, I had just had an amputation on my finger, and, we kind of got into it in the office, and I'm a pretty easygoing patient. I'm not the guy that's like, I'm not the conflict guy, but he immediately was just like, I just want to load you up on medications, because I said, I don't feel well on Ozempic and metformin. And he's like, well, I got a list. And he literally said, he's like, I got a list of medications as long as my arm. I was like, no, bro, you don't get it. Like, I have to change my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're putting Band-Aids on the problem.
Yep.
I have to get down to the root cause of what's going on with me. And, I've been at least 50, 60 pounds at points in my life, more than that, 100 pounds overweight. That's not good. There's no doctor on the planet. So like, you don't want to get down to the root cause of what's going on. But the other side of me was like, all right, this guy deals with these people all day that come in, and, I'm sure he tells them what they're supposed to be doing. They don't listen. So they default now to medication because people won't, everyone's going to be different. I had my why moment, which I'm convinced everyone has to have. What's your why moment? Why is it, I don't know what yours was for the weight loss, but mine was like, all right, I'm not going to be, I could feel myself dying. It was that serious for me. And I was like, I don't have more than a couple years left. And, that the doctor said my infection had gotten so bad. And again, because I don't have a lot of feeling in my hands, I don't feel the pain. I feel nothing. So pain is there to kind of give you like, yo, bro, something's not right here. Like, it's a heads up. So I don't feel that. So the infection was growing until one day my hand was the size of a Nerf football. I woke up the next day, it got giant overnight. So, and then I could feel it moving up my arm. And he said to me, you were just moments away from this getting in your bloodstream, going septic. And he's like, that you could have easily been dead in 4 to 5 days here. So I don't know what it was about that hospital stay and that whole experience. I was like, it became my why. My why was like, you know what? I want to see my kids go to graduate from college. I want to see them, get married. Like, I want to do all these things. And like, at this pace I'm going, I'm out of here in 4 years. No more in 4 years. It would have been an absolute wrap for me. I mean, I don't know what kind of damage I've done to my body that hopefully I can reverse. And I have to move with the intention that the body's this miraculous machine that, given the right environment, it can do a lot of healing of itself. That's how I have to roll. Otherwise, it's like I have to keep that mindset. I really hope that's the case.
How much has your health journey helped your creativity and your music?
In ways I cannot possibly put across. If I had known, and everyone's always said it, there's the correlation, mind, body, spirit kind of thing, right? I felt like spiritually, I feel really good about where I'm at, but mentally, for the mind part, I was like entering a pretty cool phase of my life. But physically, the body part, I just didn't. And without all three of those components, I don't know that you can ever really get to that next level. And I'm seeing this direct correlation with my health improving on how I feel mentally and how I approach the world. I still have the cravings to go back to the old thing, but it's like I look at myself as an addict at this point. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what? Yeah, that's just par for the course. You can't do that. We could go out and sit with some friends and they can eat pizza and all that. I can't do that. It doesn't work for me because it's gonna, the next day, all I'm gonna be thinking about is that.
So you don't do any cheat days?
I haven't had one since I left the hospital.
Man, you gotta have cheat days.
I can't. I'm very fearful. I remember this is when I started to realize that I loved Coca-Cola. Mm-hmm. There's nothing better than a big 20-ounce bottle of Coca-Cola and a bag of pretzels and just watch a TV show or something. And I would put it over ice. It was amazing. But I would realize the next day I'd be, I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky dude. That's just kind of my nature.
Yeah.
I'd be pissed and like depressed the next day.
Yeah.
And it was like, I realized it was that bombardment of sugar and caffeine that, I had to have another one the next day. I was just like, and once I found that correlation, I was just like, no, man, it's not for you. Some people can do it. I'm envious of those people. I'm just not one of them.
I have to, because I can't be too extreme about anything. I get extreme about things.
Me too.
And so the opposite of being an extreme eater is being an extreme dieter. Yeah. And I don't like either side. So I don't plan cheat days, but when they come up, boy, I go crazy. And it's good because it shows me that I just have that one day.
Well, there's arguments too that people say that, it's good for you because if you go back to let's say, ancient times, is that it was feast or famine, right? And so your body likes to know that it's like, this is one of the arguments, is that bombard it with have a day where you eat 4,000 calories worth of stuff and your body's like, okay, cool, we're good. We don't have to hang on to everything. We're good. There's a psychology to it.
Definitely. But back then, feast or famine they were actually eating good protein and food.
Sure.
They weren't eating
sure, but if
Swiss cake rolls.
But if there was some sort of they got a elk or something, or whatever it was, everyone would eat crazy. Mm-hmm. And then that might be a couple days worth of food for the whole gang of people. Then they might go for a couple days with nothing until they found something else. So it's I kind of I will do 3-day fasts now where I don't eat anything for a couple days. I do it maybe once every other month or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not as hard
just
as
liquid, just water.
Just water with salt
for 3 days.
Yeah.
Is that the Himalayan salt?
Mm-hmm.
So
I use Celtic sea salt, but yeah, it's the same idea.
Interesting.
I love it, but I got to tell you, by the end of the 3rd day, I'm hungry. But it's weird, man. It's the 2nd day, I have no desire to eat. It's bizarre.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't do it super duper often, but again, I'm trying to. This is not a vanity project for me. This is me staying alive and trying to figure out what my health issues are of the inflammation that's going on in my body. And so I've been doing recently an elimination diet of just eating basically ruminant animals, which are ruminant animals are ones that have multiple stomachs. So that there's this heavy duty digestion like beef and stuff like that. I was a vegan for like 8 years, man. So I still don't I still don't love the whole idea of the carnivore diet, if I'm being honest with you. But it's like I'm in such desperation of trying to get myself feeling normal. That's all I'm looking for. I don't even need to be superhuman. I just want to feel normal.
Well, vegan is actually not great for some people because of the carb intake.
Yeah, I mean, I was eating tons of rice and as a sugar holic, I loved it. And all the fruit. I can't even eat blueberries right now because I feel the inflammation.
Yeah.
So I'm going down this whole rabbit hole of tannin allergies. You know what tannins are?
Mm.
So like tea and like wine has a lot of tannins in it and stuff like that. It's basically like my understanding is it's a defense mechanism in plants, including fruits and vegetables and stuff like that.
Ah, okay.
That is
the toxins they produce.
correct.
Yeah.
And so some people, it doesn't bother them. I'm starting to think that it's one of the things that bothers me tremendously. I don't know that to be a fact. So I have to come back on the podcast in a bit. We'll figure it out.
Well, once you learn more about that, you come back and tell me all about it.
Yeah.
You're one of the people I go to help educate me on a lot of things anyway.
Well, you know, I love research stuff.
I love your deep dive. I'll tell you, it's been fun, just so the audience understands. I've seen you on this health journey.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you see someone's glow change.
Yeah.
When you see their physique change, and most importantly, you see their spirit change.
Yeah.
I mean, there is something to it.
Well, you know, on our TV show, it's interesting to watch because it was filmed over a period of time.
Yeah.
And looking back when we first started filming, and I thought I was like kind of killing it back then. I was like, oh my God. I mean, I look sickly to myself on that show, you know, like I don't think anybody else is going to see it, but it's like, I'm so, you know.
Yeah, Mike, thanks for saying it publicly, buddy.
Nah, just the worst. I'm just the worst, my own worst critic, you know.
Yeah. Well, we're about to get out of here because we're getting close to the end of time. So I have to ask you a question that I ask basically every guest that's put together a long, remarkable career like you have. What is your advice to people on the drive it takes not just to make it, but create sustained success over a long, remarkable career like you've enjoyed so far?
It's a very good question. I think, and this is more of something that I'm discovering as I get older, is making the art you want to make, as opposed to trying to make, you know, this is in music, at least that's, you know, that's my frame of reference because it's been pretty much my whole life. But the idea of making stuff that you think the audience wants to hear, and I've been guilty of it a billion times. It just sucks, man. It does. It's the audience doesn't know what they want. I saw this Rick Rubin thing, and it resonated so deeply with me. He's like, you know, the audience does not know what they want. It's your job as the artist. He's like, the entire value is in what you think of it. And so I've been trying to move more and more into that lane and just using the force, man, just trusting, you know, like I like it. And hopefully other people like it too, as opposed, I've made a billion records of like, oh my God, you know, people are going to love this because it's kind of like this or like that, or like, that sucks. That's a terrible way of making art, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and I think, you know, as we were talking about before the show with the AI and all that stuff, and, you know, I think people making art is going to have more value all over again, ironically, as a result of AI, because it's just real. It's coming from somewhere real, you know? And so I guess to me, that's it, is like, just make stuff that you think is cool and don't worry about what other people think. You can't, because you don't know what people are going to want. That's the bottom line, is you have no idea. So don't worry about it.
That's what Steve Jobs said one time. They were questioning either a computer or the iPhone. I don't remember which one it was. And he was like, well, they don't know until they see what we've given them.
100%. Yeah.
They don't know they're going to love it until we give it to them.
Yeah. Well, think about all these, at least musically speaking, think about like, you know, Jimi Hendrix and, you know, the Beatles. Like, nobody knew those were coming. They hit them like a ton of bricks, you know?
Yeah, anything that is manufactured, which is the problem with today's music, is you see everyone trying to recapture something else.
Yeah.
Be innovative.
We're going back like 20,
be new.
30. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, it's a hard thing to do, but and there's so much pressure to have success, you know, to just pay your bills. And you know, this town we live in is it's a very competitive town for music, you know, and everyone's trying to get the same slot and these records are, I think it used to be where you could make a pretty good living, even if you didn't get the hit song when they were selling records. Now you have to have the hit song. And so there's so much competition for those very few slots but I think ironically the stuff that really resonates is stuff that's interesting and cool. You know, you look at like Shania Twain and all these things that were these anomalies, you know, what I've heard is that people were like, you know, going through the streets with like torches, almost like they were hated everything that they were making, but it was so different. People loved it. So I don't know, you know, who knows? Oh, I will say one thing, that I made this record in the late 2000s with an artist named Laura Bell Bundy. And I got to spend some time with this guy named Luke Lewis.
Yeah, the head of UMG.
Yeah, he was the head of Universal Music. And I remember I asked him this question. I was like, you know, what advice do you have for me? Because I was brand new to town. And he was all super hyped on this Laura Bell Bundy stuff. And he had done the Mutt Lange and Shania Twain stuff. Mm-hmm. And he goes, this is my piece of advice. Stay away from the middle. It's the worst place you could possibly be. I never forgot.
That's great. Yeah. That's absolutely great. Stay out of the middle.
Stay away from the middle.
Stay away from the middle.
Yeah.
Thank you, Luke Lewis.
Yeah, he's a genius.
Well, anything to promote anywhere, and where can people find you?
It's some of the things I'm working on. It's probably a little early, but you know, I'll fill you in. Maybe we can put it in the description later in the episode. But there's some things coming up. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, currently right now is nothing concrete to promote.
Well,
just, you know, everything I have right now is in development.
Okay.
And so, well, I'm really excited about all of it, but I wish people would go to look for it right now. It wouldn't be there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, we'll talk about it next time.
I appreciate the offer.
I know you will be back on because we have some things we'll have to talk about in the future once we get everything in order.
Yes.
So look forward to having you on again.
Yes.
But your time coming on here, I really appreciate you.
Of course, man. Likewise.
Thank you, Mike Shimshack.
Yeah. Thanks, Taylor.
All right. Bye, y'all.